I never thought I'd go to a wedding alone, but life has a funny way of humbling your expectations. Claire, my cousin and one of my closest friends growing up, was getting married at a vineyard estate just outside Santa Barbara. It was the kind of wedding people dreamed about, charming, picturesque, the type that ends up all over Instagram. She had been engaged for over a year and had spent months planning every single detail. I was genuinely happy for her. She deserved this kind of love. The only catch was I didn't have anyone to go with. Originally, I was supposed to bring Mark. He was my boyfriend, or at least he had been until about 3 days before the wedding. We hadn't officially broken up, but he sent a 2-line text saying he had a work emergency and couldn't make it. No apology. No phone call. Just silence afterward. I took the hint. Our relationship had been fading for a while. Too many late meetings, missed plans, and one-word replies. I should have known it was over before that text came through, but still it stung. Claire had insisted I come anyway. You've already RSVP'd. It'll be fun, she said over the phone, her voice filled with genuine excitement. I didn't have the heart to say no. So, I packed my suitcase, bought a new navy blue dress last minute, and boarded a plane to California by myself. The ceremony was held in the vineyard's open-air chapel, nestled between rows of grapevines. The air smelled like roses and fresh earth, and the sunset lit the sky in streaks of gold and purple. Claire looked like she had stepped out of a bridal magazine, radiant, elegant, and completely in love. Jared, her fiancé, stood at the altar beaming, his face soft with emotion. They exchanged vows under a wooden arch wrapped in white lilies and greenery, and everyone clapped and cheered as they kissed for the first time as husband and wife. I sat in the third row, surrounded by smiling couples, clutching the program in my lap. People laughed and held hands. There were gentle shoulder touches, whispers, and shared glances. All around me was connection. I felt like a disconnected wire in a room full of glowing lamps. I smiled, but it didn't quite reach my eyes. Still, I clapped, I stood, I congratulated. I did everything I was supposed to do. After the ceremony, guests made their way to the reception area, a wide stone patio lit with strings of soft white lights and tall heaters to keep the evening chill at bay. The tables were arranged around a dance floor, and a small jazz band played in the corner. It was stunning. Claire had really outdone herself. I found my name card at table 7, near the back. It was a table full of extended family and friends of friends. Strangers, mostly. They were friendly, but I felt like a placeholder, someone to fill a chair so the table wouldn't look empty. I sipped champagne and picked at the arugula salad in front of me, trying not to look as alone as I felt. That's when I noticed him. He was at the bar, laughing with the bartender over something I couldn't hear. He had messy brown hair and wore a charcoal gray suit with the top button of his shirt undone, no tie. Something about him felt relaxed, like he wasn't trying too hard to be anyone but himself. He leaned against the counter, scanning the crowd, and then his eyes met mine. I looked away quickly, feeling a heat rise to my cheeks. But a moment later, I dared a second glance. He was still looking. And then he smiled, warm and unguarded, like we were already in on some secret together. I looked down at my glass, unsure what to do. I was out of practice when it came to meeting new people. The idea of making small talk with a stranger felt exhausting. But before I could decide whether to stand or stay put, he was walking toward me, holding 2 drinks. "You look like someone who could use a refill," he said, offering me one. I smiled, caught off guard by how natural his presence felt. "Only if it comes with a name." He chuckled and held out his hand. "I'm Lucas." "Rachel," I said, shaking his hand. His grip was firm, but easy. We fell into conversation like old friends picking up where they left off. He was from Chicago, had gone to college with Jared, and had flown in the night before. He'd almost skipped the wedding too, he admitted, because of work. He was an architect, recently single, and as he put it, reevaluating priorities. We talked through the salad course and into dinner. I learned he had a dog named Moose, a Great Dane mixed with anxiety issues. I told him about my job in publishing and how I sometimes edited manuscripts late at night while eating cereal straight from the box. He didn't judge. He laughed and nodded, as if cereal dinners were the most normal thing in the world. When the music changed to something slower, couples started drifting onto the dance floor. Claire and Jared shared their first dance, followed by the father-daughter waltz. It was sweet, sentimental, and full of emotion. I wiped away a tear before it could smudge my mascara. Lucas stood and offered me his hand. "Come on. Let's not be the only one sitting." I hesitated. "I'm not really a dancer." "Neither am I," he said. "But I think we'll be terrible together." I laughed, surprised by how easily he could make me feel lighter. I took his hand and followed him to the dance floor. He was right. We weren't great. We stepped on each other's toes, swayed off beat, and nearly bumped into a waiter carrying a tray of champagne flutes. But it didn't matter. We were laughing too much to care. After a few songs, we drifted off the dance floor and walked toward the edge of the property, where the vineyard met the hills. The stars were beginning to show, and the hum of laughter and clinking glasses faded behind us. I wrapped my shawl tighter around my shoulders, and he shrugged off his jacket, draping it over me without a word. We stood in silence for a while, looking out at the rows of vines stretching into the dark. Then he said softly, "I'm really glad I came tonight." I looked at him, unsure how to respond. My chest ached with a strange mixture of hope and fear. "Me too." He walked me back to my room later that night. Not in a rush or with any expectations. Just walked me to my door and waited. When I turned to say goodnight, he looked at me like he was trying to memorize the moment. "I know this sounds crazy," he said, "but can I call you tomorrow? Or do you think this was just a one-night universe thing?" I smiled. "Call me." And he did. The next morning, he sent me a photo of Moose sitting by the window with the caption, "He already misses you." I laughed out loud in the airport lounge. Over the next few weeks, we texted every day. Then came calls. Then video chats. When he flew to New York to visit me for the first time, I knew something was different. We weren't pretending. We weren't playing it cool. We were just showing up, again and again, for each other. The more I learned about him, the more I liked him. He was thoughtful, sincere, and made me feel like I mattered. He didn't try to fix me. He just stood beside me, even on the days I felt small. A year later, we attended another wedding together. This time, hand in hand. Claire smiled at us across the room and gave me a knowing wink. I squeezed Lucas's hand tighter, and he leaned down to kiss my temple. That night, under the stars, he pulled out a small velvet box and said, "I don't want another night without you." I said yes. And to think, it all started with one night, one wedding, and a stranger who brought me a drink when I needed it most.